much for that.
DeRiggi-Whitton.
How are you?
Good, how are you this afternoon?
Good. Just getting back to this one contract with the Look Good Services, the way you just described them, they're general contractors, so they basically distribute the work to all these different contractors that actually do the work, is that correct?
Well, no, they have, Looks Great has 20 tree crews on Long Island. They're a Huntington company.
But we have hundreds working.
So then what they do is, these storm guys all know each other from other storms. So they'll have a bank of people that they can rely on to say, hey, I need 10 more bucket trucks, and 10 more pickers, and 5 more of this, and 10 loaders.
Right.
And they all come in, but they'll come in under the blanket of Looks Great. But during Katrina, say they had Joe's cleanup service. They made their error by having Joe's cleanup service in St. Joseph's Parish and Tim's cleanup service in Bell's Fair and Mike's cleanup service, and they were all separate. And having seen that, we internally, when I got here, we had a discussion about how we would manage our debris management program and not follow the disconnect of multiple people doing the same job, because that's going to become disastrous.
We have one title basically for all. Now, how many subcontractors did they use?
At times, they had 10 or 15 different companies working.
And do we have any history on these other companies that were working for our
We
contract?
have used most of the companies in some fashion, or they have used them, and they submitted them previous to the date of the storm, so we knew who just about everybody was. I mean, I'm not going to know the guy with 5 tree trucks from Alabama.
That's what my question is.
Right.
Do you know what percentage was from out of state?
I couldn't give you a number offhand.
Do we have any idea of their
I could
trainings?
find out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just wondering, my concern is that, although I understand your system of having one company accountable, they're really basically a figurehead, and they were distributing the
Well,
work
no,
to
they
numbers.
actually, Looks
Right,
Great Services does the work
Does
with
some.
their contractors.
Does some of the work. They
Not
have
some of the
20
work, the
trucks.
majority of the work of Looks Great contractors. They may be his contractors from Mississippi, but they're his.
But each truck that came up here had a different name on it. So the fact that
I-
they're really not part of the Looks Great Services company, like the
I
Florida
know, but
ones.
you can't see it as a company. Say in Mississippi, it's not called Looks Great. It might be called Mike's Tree and Landscaping. But they're basically subsidiaries, not all, but some are subsidiaries of Looks Great elsewhere. And there are definitely, I've been dealing with the unions every day, there are definitely guys from out of town. But in a disaster,
That I understand.
you have to take and build your army before it hits, or you're gonna end up like the city of New York ends up, with a pile full of stuff in Floyd Bennett Field they can't get rid of because they didn't have a plan.
I understand that to a certain degree, but I also, now that the disaster is pretty much passed, I'm wondering, they're using a lot of out-of-state companies, and I'm wondering if there are some local Long Island companies that could be getting that work.
We have been substituting local people where they can fit in.
Because I would like to see the local people benefit from.
We have been doing that. We've been taking Long Island companies and moving them in and moving the out-of-state companies.
I'd also just like to see what the training is for these other companies. I mean, I understand what you're saying, that Looks Great Services might have a good reputation and they might, but in my opinion, we have no idea who a lot of these companies were. I just think that it would be, we can't come up here and say Looks Great Services does this, 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 and this, when there are companies from Alabama. I don't think that there's a direct correlation, as much as.
I can only go on what the conversations
All right, I just
have
had one other topic.
Yep.
When Welwyn was cleared,
Yep.
were any trees removed?
No, no trees were taken off the property, from my understanding.
I have this report that was submitted by your
Right.
department. There's writing on it on the
Yep.
bottom, and it says, discuss the removal program
Okay,
with the mayor.
right. No removed.
Then
But
why-
Mayor Swazi didn't want them removed. So they
From
were
what I
left on site and
understand-
cut up. From what I can,
They were removed the first day, and
Again,
why would, I'm just curious about why the word
again,
removal is even on
I,
here.
when I found out there was a problem in Welwyn, we went in, whether it was 2 days or 3 days after, we went in, I changed the
Right.
team out, the team that was in there was fired, and a
Correct.
different team was put in. Because if they don't want to follow the rules we gave them, I will remove them.
But we're still talking about removal on
Again,
Thursday,
If
not
it was
not the
removed
Sunday.
previous to, as soon as I found out, if it was removed, it was stopped. The removal was stopped. Can I tell you it was stopped the first day?
It was, listen, it was called, this work started on a Sunday.
Right.
And maybe that's the day you're referring to. This report, which is discussing the removal of these trees, is on Thursday, the 29th.
I understand, but
which is
any of
4
the
days
comments other than
after.
the bottom that says discuss removal, were any of the trees marked in the comment box removed?
Where would that be?
All the way to the right-hand side, the comment box that says drop tree,
Right.
cut down, any of them say removed?
It doesn't say there, but it doesn't say that on the first day either, and that's when
Right,
I was
so-
told they were removed.
They
So,
don't
I
get
mean-
paid for it unless it's on the sheet. If they cut it down and left it there, that's what they get paid for. If they cut it down and removed it, it has to be on the sheet or they wouldn't get paid for it.
Well, my concern is that I was told that witnesses saw trucks pulling out trees. And maybe it was in the beginning, but if it's still being discussed as far as whether or not what to do with the debris on Thursday, it doesn't look good for us, to be honest. Like, to discuss tree removal and not say no, absolutely no trees are being removed.
As far as we were concerned, the order was if it's a preserve, you gotta cut it down and leave it. As long as it's not in the way of a path, which all you do is cut the open path.
So the discussion of a tree removal, when people, I'm just saying,
It could have been Mayor Swazi, I spoke with him several times in the very first day or two.
Well,
And
this was
whoever-
Thursday.
Whoever the monitor was may have spoken to him, and he may have reiterated his comment that he doesn't want the trees removed. I don't know where the note came from.
Well, it's just, I'm a little, to say discussion of removal makes it sound like we're talking about moving the trees off of it.
They're
And I
not
just think
going.
it makes the county just look.
Nope.
I just have one other thing, presiding officer, if that's okay, Norma.
Go right ahead.
I'm gonna submit a letter that I'm just requesting, whether or not, in the beginning there was an error, I think it would really be goodwill if we use possibly part of this funding to purchase new trees to be planted in the
Well,
preserve.
you can't use any recovery money for
Well,
anything
all right,
other
so,
than.
well, you know what, then even if it was a mistake, well, the whole letter, basically, what I'm also concerned about is that there's been issues with the runoff, with the trees that were cut, there's also issues with the stream that received damage. It's just making us look bad to have this display of our work.
I just want to make one comment. I am well aware of the fact, Mr. Millett, that there is a protocol in place, and that the company that is hired is well aware of that protocol as well. And when they do not follow that protocol, you made it your business to make sure they were out.
Absolutely.
And I got that information right after I got bombarded by a number of phone calls from a particular society claiming that there were hundreds and hundreds of trees that were cut down unnecessarily. And we corrected that. And it was only those trees that were in the walkways
No.
and that were, I'm not here to debate you.
Have you been there though?
Listen, I am not going to debate you.
Well,
I am
then
telling
there's no reason
you
to talk
right
about it.
now that I know that he did stop any unnecessary cutting down of trees.
And unless you're
And
there
it was,
and you see it
I've been
yourself.
around the county during the entire situation. I beg your pardon. And I have to put my faith and trust in Mr. Millett because of his testimony that he gave us at the Rules Committee and convinced all of us that this was a good thing.
If you'd
And
like to
again, I
see-
thank you.
We
Mr.
have the photos, and if you'd like to come, I would be happy to show you, Norma. It's about a good mile walk to get into the preserve where most of the damage was done. It's pretty far back in the preserve. So if you'd like to come see it, you're more than welcome anytime.
Fine, I think it would be a good thing to call the question and have a vote on item number 6. All right, all those in favor of item number 6, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No, I'm voting against it.
Okay, fine. Anybody else? Okay, so it's 17 to 1.